Okay then, and of course no Flaxwood setup video would be complete without a Flaxwood guitar. The one we're going to be working on here today is a Flaxwood Lumi White Lieki with some custom shop P90s. This one has the Tune-o-matic bridge, the classic Les Paul type bridge. This one has a piezo system in the bridge, but the mechanics of the tremolo is still the same, so that's the one we're going to be working on. And to begin with, we're going to check out how to change the strings on a Flaxwood guitar. Flaxwood guitars are using Goto locking tuners, which you can see here. They look pretty much like regular tuners, apart from the small groove on top of the tuning peg head. And on the back side you see there's just some small holes on the back of the actual tuners. There's no locking wheel or anything like that, as with some other brands. That doesn't mean that these are overly complicated in any way. They're actually very simple and very sleek looking tuners. So you should also have your operations manual for the Goto tuners at hand and read through that, because that explains in detail with schematics how the tuner is built up and everything with the locking stud inside. So to then loosen the string, say I want to change an old string or if the string is broken, I simply just start detuning the string like so, and once the string reaches center here in line with the fretboard, it will start to loosen the actual string from the tuning peg. As you can see here, the string will first follow around with the tuning peg like so, but after just a little while longer, you see it snaps back, and this means that it's had the locking post inside this one has started to go down, thereby releasing the grip on the string. So at this point, just maybe 2 or 3 turns more, I can just pull the string out of the tuning peg. So it's as easy as that. Then, if you have a string that's broken, you could just hold that string with your right hand, stretch it out so it's taut. But if the string should break just up here near the tuning peg, then you can release the tuning head just with a screwdriver, put it in the slot and just turn it anti-clockwise for these 3. And that will then raise the sort of lid of the housing of the peg, thereby releasing the string. The way we just did, then the housing will stay put, but the tuning locking stud inside the tuning peg will go down. So it's the same result, it's just 2 different ways of doing it. So then, once the old string is off, the tuning peg is still now in line with the fretboard, and I just, to loosen it, I just simply turn it off and open it like that. Unwind the string. So then I pull the string out through the back side of the Tune-o-matic, like so. Then I take out my new string of choice, whatever your preference is. Me, I'm using 011 strings, but Flaxwood guitars comes set up with 010 strings from factory. That's the most commonly used string gauge. So then I just thread the string in back through the back side of the stop tail, over the bridge, the Tune-o-matic part. We're gonna be covering the shallower floating tremolo later. So let me move this into view for you. There we go. So I just stretch the string tight. Then I run it through the peg head, like so. And now it's very simple. I prefer to just hold the string taut. That eliminates multiple turns of string up here on locking post. And whenever you're using a locking post, you should keep the number of turns around the string to a minimum. Otherwise you're defeating the whole purpose of a locking tuner. So I just hold this tight. Either I push the string forward through the locking post or pull it tight like so, and use my other hand. So I will pull it tight now, and look what happens now when I turn the actual peg head. I'm tightening the string, but nothing happens. You see, nothing's moving here. And this is because I'm holding this in position while turning the actual peg knob here. And what happens then is I'm raising the locking stud within the post. So if you see, just after a few turns, 4 or 5 turns, just as many as it took to loosen it, it's starting to pull the string with it around the peg. And by the time it reaches 45 degrees, so like that, or 90 degrees almost, then you can just let it go because now it's locked. And you don't need to use a screwdriver or coin to lock it down further. You can if you want to, but you should take care not to overly tighten, because then you can damage the thread of the actual wire. So then you just pull the guitar down. Pull it up to pitch. And then what you should do whenever you're using new strings is to stretch them along the entire string length like this. Because you see, I was just in tune with the perfect fourth, sorry, the A and E. But now I'm almost down a step. So up again, stretch some more. And this will take you a couple of minutes, just stretching, playing, whenever you're using new strings. And you need to do this before going into intonation and truss rod setup and this kind of things, because the strings need to be fully stretched to really function properly and intonate the way they're supposed to do. Just intonating a brand new string without stretching it, that's not the right way to do it, because then the intonation will go off. It will falter later on. Once the string is stretched, you will be out of intonation again. So then you need to redo it. So save yourself a lot of time by just playing for like 10-20 minutes or something like that. Just be sure to stretch all the strings properly. And once you've done with that, or before, just clip the string off using your wire cutters. And that's it for the string change. As you can see in the manual, you can also raise or lower the posts themselves. I encourage you to read about it, but you really shouldn't bother to do it, because the guitars are perfectly set up from factory with the Flaxwood factory, but it's still, a valuable piece of information to know. The idea of it all is to adjust the angle of the string over the nut, so it isn't too flat of an angle, which can cause the string to rattle in the nut, or too steep of an angle, which can cause the string to pinch in the nut and cut down into the nut too hard. So I mean, unless you're really sure that you want to do it or need to do it, just stay away from it. And that's, if you want to do it, this is what the small holes here are for. You put in, as followed in the manual, you put in the small Allen wrench that accompany the Flaxwood guitar, and you turn the locking stud all the way, counterclockwise or clockwise, depending on which side of the headstock you're on. Then adjust the height of the post just by turning it with your fingers until you're satisfied with it, and then return the screw back to its original position, and you're done. But as I said, you don't need to do this on a factory Flaxwood guitar, since it's perfectly set up from the get-go with, compensated for the 12-inch radius of the neck and everything. So that's it for string change.